Hi, this is Lisa Ray Preston from InstantNicheEmails.com, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Marnie Pearson from IdeaMarketers.com. Marnie and I have worked together for a year now, and I got to tell you, she's a dear friend, and I just love her. She's one of the most awesome, visionary, and action-oriented people of our time. I believe the message that she has to share is crucial and will be life-changing for many of our listeners. So right off the bat, I want to tell you there's nothing for sale on this call. There's nothing to even offer except this message that I do believe is going to be life-changing. So, Marnie, thanks for your time and for your heart to help others succeed.
Well, thank you, and thank you for that glowing recommendation there.
Well, we've been batting ideas back and forth over a few days, and I'll just dive right into the meat of the message. There are basically two kinds of marketing, two kinds of ways to make money online. And I wonder if you could share those ways, and then maybe we could talk about the pros and cons of each of them.
Okay. Well, one method is just to, you target your audience, you draw them in, you convert them to sales, and you use a lot of really high testosterone marketing methods to really get your message out there. You bombard the airwaves or the internet with it, and you just blast it out, and you're hoping that some of these people are going to purchase. You create your strategic sales letter, those 15-page sales letters and things that really pull the person down so they just got to buy. So there's that very scientific sort of way of getting your message out. And then on the other end, there's a way of just being who you are and being very clear about who you are and putting out a message and a persona that resonates with people, and it pulls people to you, and then they want whatever you have to offer at that point. So it's basically either product-driven on the first one or personality-driven on the other one.
Okay, so let's start with the product-driven. What are some of the challenges?
You really have to have your ducks in a row. It's got to have your sales page, and you need a list. You need maybe some joint ventures in place, partners in place. You need a lot of exposure somewhere, either through advertising or affiliates and things like that. So there's a lot of education that you would either need, or you would need to hire somebody, maybe a copy editor or somebody who could write that copy for you that's compelling, that's going to really pull somebody in. So there's a lot of homework you got to do before you ever put it out for sale.
Yeah, and one of the cons is that if you're just product-driven, you have to be an expert at everything. You have to be an expert at creating the product. You have to be an expert at the tech stuff, getting it up online. And you have to be an expert at writing sales copy.
Right.
And you have to be an expert at getting joint ventures and people to help you launch, because you got to launch your product, right? That's overwhelming. That's a ton of information to have to master.
Yeah, and I think it's hard for the creative types, the typical people who create products and maybe books or services or things that are more that creative brain. It can be overwhelming for them to think about all that technical stuff and learning it and doing it, that it could keep them from ever even following through on their ideas.
Oh, yeah, that's way too much. People spend a lifetime trying to master each one of those things. They're happy if they can write a product. They're happy if they can write a sales letter, but to have it all together, I mean, you could start from day one and then maybe launch your product 18 months later?
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're a perfectionist.
Yeah, which a lot of creative people are.
Yeah.
So, all right, jumping over to the other side, the person-driven marketing, or is that what you called it?
Yeah, or personality-driven, I guess, or something like that.
So what difference is there? Are there any challenges with that?
The biggest challenge with that is the initial growth of a fan base. It takes some time to establish yourself as either an expert or as someone who people want to either read what you have to say, or you kind of have to create this persona of who you are. And, of course, you've got to be very focused on what it is that you're offering the world, the message that you're putting out. Otherwise, it's going to get muddy if you're not very clear. A lot of people make the mistake of they put themselves out there and they have a lot of interest, and so they go in a lot of different directions, and it doesn't matter how much they put themselves out there. They kind of shoot themselves in the foot because the people don't know exactly what it is they're doing. They don't know how to, if they're a suitcase, it's like a suitcase without a handle. They don't know how to pick them up and what to do with them. So I think probably the greatest challenge for developing that personality-driven marketing is focus.